The old saying is you plant your Irish potatoes on St. Patrick's Day. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So some history of Irish potatoes. They're a tuber-forming plant. They were native to Andean regions of South America, taken by the early settlers to Europe. So that history actually started here before they got the name Irish potatoes. They are among the top 5 vegetables grown worldwide. They have a pretty sterile flower and they need to be propagated vegetatively. So in the home garden, what does that mean? So many shapes and colors. Most people are just familiar with white or red potatoes, but there's lots and lots more options out there. Of course, the white-skinned, white-fleshed are probably the most common, and the red-skinned or red flesh. And we have some blue-skinned ones with blue flesh and some more variety. We have early development, 100 days, medium, 120 days, or late, your main crop is 130 days. So they are a long season crop in the garden. They do prefer slightly acidic soils, so 6 to 6.5. If we get higher pHs, sometimes we can have some problems with them. They like fertile, well-drained soils, high organic matter, so sometimes our soils can also be a challenge for them. And uniform soil moisture is important, just like with most of our vegetable crops. So planting, our planting dates, depending on where you live in Missouri, can be anywhere from March 10th, so that's before St. Patrick's Day, or to April 15th. And I personally have planted potatoes even a lot later than that because that's when the soil conditions were right and I had time to do it. We want to use certified seed stock. Those are the tubers. So I've seen advertisements already that seed potatoes are available in local stores. So basically that seed stock is potatoes, and we cut those potatoes into pieces. So they need at least one eye, which is, you'll be able to see it. It's a spot on that potato. And in my picture over here, these are where the eyes are where those sprouts are coming from. If you have the opportunity and think about it ahead of time, ideally you would cut these pieces like in this picture and cure them for 2 to 3 days. A lot of times that doesn't happen for me personally. It's kind of like, oh, I have an opportunity, let's plant potatoes. So they get cut up and planted at the same time. Plant 24 inches apart, 3 to 5 inches deep in furrows. We want to put the cut side down. So this bottom picture, you can see a line of potatoes. And then we want to apply additional nitrogen when the plants flower. So potatoes are hilled, and what hilling means is basically we come back and we add soil. So after the previous picture where those were planted, I would take a hoe and hill from both sides. So we have a small hill, but then as the plants grow, we continue to hill because that encourages more tuber production, which is what we want. And we also protect those from the sun. Also, so you can see a picture of that. As a kid, my job was to hill the potatoes. So I had my favorite hoe, and that's how I would go about hilling potatoes. I also have a picture of potatoes here. These are heavily mulched in my parents' vegetable garden. And this front one here, you can see critters also like them. That's some deer damage nipping off the tops. Then we harvest new potatoes. So those have thin skin and small when they're large enough to eat. So we can kind of start peeking and seeing what's there. Typically, we dig the main crop about 2 weeks after the tops die. That allows them time to cure a little bit in the ground. When we dig them, we want to avoid skinning them. We also want to avoid exposure to the light. And after we harvest them, we want to cure them for several days at 45 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit and high humidity. The other thing I had a call about one year was they didn't understand, as far as curing potatoes go, that they turn green. So when you cure them, you actually, growing up, we always put them in soda flat boxes, spread out in a single layer, and then we cover that with newspaper and allow those to cure before they are stored in a dark spot. Then commercially, if you have a bunch, this is a commercial digger that is showing all of those potatoes.